أهلا بيكم مرة تانية في سيشن من سيريز Build with AI. هو ايفنت معمول تبع Women Tech Maker، برنامج تبع شركة جوجل. هدف الايفنت ده إن احنا نعرف ازاي ال AI يقدر يدخل في أكتر من مجال. النهاردة هي السيشن الأخيرة، هتتكلم عن ال UI UX مع المهندس البشير أوتيدرارين من المغرب. هيبدأ يعرفنا بنفسه وهيعرفنا ازاي إن احنا ممكن نستفيد من ال UI UX وال AI مع بعض.
Hello everyone. Can you hear me? صوت واضح?
Yeah, it's good.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. First of all, أحب أشكر نهى جادو for the invitation. I really appreciate it. هذا أول talk لي في Egypt في مصر. I'm a bit stressful because مش متعود أنني أتكلم مصري وعربي. Almost all my talks are in Darija, which is language in Morocco in English. So in this talk, this is my first time trying. I will try to speak in Egyptian. راح أحاول أتكلم مصري. So bear with me, okay? I know it's not perfect, but I will try. My name is Bashir Drarin. اسمي Bashir Drarin. I'm a software engineer. Who also I'm passionate about UI and UX. وفي هذه السيشن راح أحاول أنني أبسط UI UX even إذا ما كانوش عندك أي يعني prerequisites. So for today الأجندة اليوم راح نبدأ بالسيشنز of UI and UX design. قبل ما نبدأ عاوز أسألكم, do you have like fundamentals? You already know something about UI and UX design or not? Type 1 in the chat. اكتب واحد في الشات إذا كنت ديجا أو عندك يعني ديجا كان عندك واحد you already know like the topic of UI and UX design. It's really stressful for me to talk in Egyptian, but I will do my best. Type 1 in the chat إذا كنت ديجا عارف مبادئ ال UI and UX. No one? من الشات I guess the majority -1. Okay. -1 is a bit, I don't know what you mean by that, but okay. So in this talk I will take it step by step. راح أحاول أخذ الأمور يعني beginner friendly. لما بيعرف. Okay. Okay, wonderful. So we're gonna start with the fundamentals of UI and UX design. ثاني point هي how to approach design. We're gonna talk about the grid. إيش نعني بالgrid والvisual hierarchy, and also how to use typography, which is الخطوط, like the types of fonts, and also the art of color. أول point قبل ما نبدأ هو عندنا واحد المغالطة. هاي المغالطة بتقول أنه لازم أكون أعرف أرسم أو أكون رسام جامد عشان أنني أكون UX and UI designer, which is wrong. You don't essentially have أنك تكون رسام جامد أو تعرف ترسم عشان تكون UI and UX designer. So this is why I put هذا الكوت هون. يعني drawing is a valuable skill, but it's not the only skill. You don't need to know how to draw to be a good interface designer. يعني ال UI UX design هو واحد المجموعة من المبادئ, واحد المجموعة من ال principles والقواعد اللي إذا تعلمتهم راح automatically الديزاينز بتاعك بيكونوا جامدين. في هذا التولك هادشي اللي بغينا نديرو. So first of all, we're gonna define what do we mean by UX design or user experience. There is أول point لازم أننا to distinguish أننا نفرق ما بين ال UI وال UX design. ال UX design هو user experience, هي تجربة المستخدم. الهدف ديالنا أننا نعطيو للمستخدم أو لليوزر نعطيوه a good experience. But in the UI we talk about how it looks. So this is how we distinguish between UX design and UI design. في ال UX نحن نركز على تجربة المستخدم, يعني how it feels. الابليكيشن بتاعنا, الانترفيس بتاعنا لازم تكون easy to use. But in the UI design we focus on the how it looks. So in this talk we're gonna study the intersection between both this concept. We're gonna try راح نحاول أنها تكون easy to use and also good looking at the same time. Let's see some examples. Here we have an example. When I click on save, there is nothing happens, then save pops up automatically. But here is a good example. When I click save, I give the user أعطي اليوزر واحد الفيدباك أنه السيف it's saving, it's in the process. But هون it's a bad UX. Why? Because I didn't give that feedback to the user. This is an example. This is an intersection between UI and UX. It looks good and at the same time تجربة المستخدم مزيانة. Another example which is really funny, which with the dishes. With the dishes, when you're cleaning the dishes أو بتغسل صحون, you can apply UX principles in this process. How, you may ask, how can I do that? Well, when doing the dishes أو لما بتغسل صحون, هناك بعض الأواني أو بعض الأكواب اللي بتستخدمهم كتير. الأمور أو الصحون اللي بتستخدمهم كتير لازم يكونوا قراب يدك. So when you're doing the dishes, when you're cleaning, for example, the things that you use a lot, you should put them closer to you instead of putting them inside. Like this, they will be easy to access. This is just a funny example. In the UX, we can apply it everywhere, not just in the UI or in the applications. لهون كل شيء مزيان؟ كتسمعوني مزيان؟ Okay, good, wonderful. يا جدعان احنا فاهم عليه. Okay. So user-centered design, what do we mean by that? Is the user experience. الهدف منها هو أنه نعطي لليوزر a good experience, تجربة ممتازة. This means that we need to focus on the user. This is just a principle about UX design. أنه راح نعمل الديزاين around the user. So this is what do we mean by interactive design process focused on the end user, incorporating their needs, preferences, and feedback, which is very important. If I am in the process of making an application or a product, I should start with لازم أنني يبدأ أو يركز على الend user أو target audience تاعي الأمور اللي مهتمين بهم. In this process كاين بزاف تاع steps أو هناك مراحل. المرحلة الأولى أنا عاوز أعمل product, application, a robot, everything. First, I need to understand the goal of that application. Like, for example, I want to make an application for journaling. I need to understand the end user. Like, what is the pain points? What the end user needs. Then I need to specify. أنا عاوز أعمل application للjournaling. I need to specify the functionalities that the user needs. I need to specify also the features or the key elements I'm gonna focus on. Only then I can start the design process. Otherwise, إذا ما بعمل step 1 and 2, I will design the application as I want it, not as the user wants it. Because I see this all the time. When you go directly to this step, انت بتعمل الابلكيشن لنفسك according to the principles بتاعك, according to needs بتاعك. But when you want إذا بدك تعمل application for the end user, you want them to use it and also to address them, you can't ignore these steps. It's almost impossible. Well, it can work sometimes, but usually you will get bad results. And finally, it's essential to evaluate. When you finish the design process, you can evaluate your work. How? You can create an MVP and give it to the end user to test it. And again, start the process. It's like an iterative process. When you finish it, when اللي بتكمل البروسيس, it's an iterative one. You're always gonna go back and start again. So far so good. Okay. يا سيطة مش بنفهمك. شنو اللي ما فهمتش؟ Okay, I will try to talk in Arabic. I'm sorry because I'm not used to talk in Egyptian, but I will try. أيوة, okay. أول step أو أول مرحلة في البروسيس تاع UX design أو تجربة المستخدم هو to understand and specify. We mean المعنى من هذا أنه لازم نفهم and also specify شنو اليوزر needs محتاج. هذه أول مرحلة. لازم أننا نشوف to understand يعني نفهم اليوزر and also specify needs بتاعه. in the question how كيف أننا راح نفهم and empathize and also know the context of user كيف راح نعمل كذا. there is كاينين بزاف ديال المراحل أو كاينين بزاف ديال الاستراتيجيز راح نشوف الآن just to mention them. there is a concept كاين واحد الكونسيبت أو واحد المبدأ اللي سميتو foundational research. من بدنا نعمل بروجيكت أول حاجة بنبدأ بها في البروسيس بتاع تجربة المستخدم هي أنه نعمل واحد الفاونديشنال ريسيرش يعني الأساس يعني research in Arabic which is نبحث راح نعمل واحد البحث أساسي. في هذا البحث عايزين أننا نفهم اليوزر how to do that. first we can do interviews. بدي أعمل product راح يعمل انترفيوز مع الاند يوزر مع المستخدمين اسالهم اطرح عليهم اسئله شنو هما الفونكس شنو هما يعني شنو هما النيدز بتاعهم. another strategy is to do surveys which is like Google form. when you do a Google form راح من بتعمل Google form and you put questions there. that's also a type of foundational research. and there is also another طريقه اخرى which is the competitive audit. المعنى بتاع الكومبيتيتيف اوديت هو عاوز تعمل برودكت في العالم هناك برودكت سيميلر للبرودكت اللي عاوز تعمل. راح تشوف دوك البرودكتس اند سي شنو بيعملوا اند ليرن فروم ذم. البروسيس الاول اللي هو الانترفيوز. اوف كورس يو كان ستارت وذ يور بيرسونال نيتورك. اصدقائك في الجامعه عاوز تعمل برودكت بتسالهم انا عاوز اعمل البرودكت كذا وكذا شنو الفيدباك بتاعك. of course اذا البرودكت بتاعك already exist you can start with your existing user base يعني اليوزرز اللي already uses your product. هالواي تيستين هو just واحد الفانسي وورد اللي بتعني انه بتسال الناس راندوم في الشارع او في الهول واي في الجامعه بتاعك بتسالهم عن البرودكت بتاعك. and this is just one step. when بتعمل واحد user research او بتعمل تسال اصدقائك عن البرودكت راح يكون عندك فهم اكثر بالبرودكت بتاعك instead of jumping directly to the design process. Now let's talk some design. احنا عملنا الريسيرش سالت اصدقائي عملت جوجل فورم بسال فيه الناس الاجوبه الان عندي والان بدي ابدا في البروسيس بتاع الديزاين. اول حاجه ممكن ابدا بها هي انه الايديشن فيز اللي بنعني بها انه الهدف بتاعي انني to generate as much ideas as possible. انا الان عندي اجوبه سالت الناس اي اندرستاند يعني بفهم شنو هما النيدز بتاع اليوزر بتاعي. انا الان راح اعمل الايديشن في هذا البروسيس. الهدف بتاعي انه to generate as many ideas as possible. ممكن اعمل brainstorming and of course الفوكس بتاعي بيكون عن الكوانتيتي عن الكم ليس الكواليتي. and I question the obvious. واحد التكنيك اللي مهمه جدا في هذا البروسيس to generate ideas is the competitive audit اللي بيعني انني بيشوف الكومبيتيتورز بتاعي شنو عملوا شنو هما الحوايج اللي عملوهم كويس وشنو هما الاشياء اللي عملوهم مش كويس. في هذا البروسيس هذا راح تكون عندي ايديا افضل انني راح استفد من الاشياء اللي الكومبيتيتورز بتاعي عملوهم كويس and راح احاول انني اتفادى الامور اللي مش عملهم كويس. and this is what we mean with the competitive audit. كتشوف الكومبيتيتور بتاعك البرودكت ديالو الفيتشرز بتاعو اليو اي بتاعي الكولرز اللي خدموا بهم باش نشوف هذا البروسيس كامل عند الكومبيتيتورز بتاعي وراح احاول انني استفد منهم. هذه واحد الطريقه باش انني استفد منهم وقبل ما ابدا بروسيس ديزاين بيكون عندي واحد الكم هائل من المعلومات اللي نقدر نبازي عليهم instead of just jumping directly to the design. so far so good. في هذه البارت الاخيره حاولت انني نتكلم عربي اكثر من الانجليزي اللي انا مش متعود عليه بس I do my best. so far so good. Can you confirm in chat please? Okay, can you hear me? Please confirm, press 1 in the chat or press something if everything is good to continue. Okay, good. بس في الكومبيتيتيف اوديت او كما قلت انه ملي نحاول نشوف الكومبيتيتورز بتاعي شنو هما الحوايج اللي داروهم اكسيترا there is some limitation في هذا البروسيس هذا اللي لازم انني احاول اتفاداهم. اول حاجه is it stifles creativity. لو عندي ايديا او عندي برودكت انا عاوز اعمل له ديزاين، ملي اشوف الكومبيتيتورز بتاعي شنو عملوا بتكون it stifles creativity. بتكون صعيبه عليا انني نجيب ايدياز جداد او to generate new ideas. And also another limitation is it depends on how well you interpreted the findings. ممكن انني اخذ العكس instead of taking الحوايج اللي الكومبيتيتورز بتاعي عاملهم كويس ممكن انني اشوفهم as a bad thing and اخذ الحوايج اللي عاملهم مش كويس واعملهم myself which is bad. So competitive audit it's a good strategy انني نشوف الكومبيتيتورز بتاعي الحوايج اللي عملوهم but it also comes with limitations. So you should pay attention. And finally we're gonna talk some design now. كاع الحوايج اللي قلناهم دابا وكاع التوبكس اللي تكلمنا عليهم الان they are just a foundation. First we understand what is UI, what is UX design, and also فهمنا انه مش المرحله الاولى هي ديزاين يعني عندي ايديا نيشان اعمل ديزاين، لا لازم يعمل واحد الريسيرش، لازم افهم، لازم نشوف الكومبيتيتورز بتاعي شنو هما الحوايج اللي عاملينهم and then I can start the design process. And اول حاجه راح يبدا بها في الديزاين process there is what we call wireframes او low fidelity sketches. مين بدي اعمل ديزاين اول مرحله لازم to keep it simple. دونك راح ابدا with wireframes. wireframes كما بتشوفون هنا هما واحد it's a simple version of your website. ممكن تعملها just with a pen and paper بورق وقلم او also using some tools with Figma. It's good before you decide on the perfect colors in design because when بدك تبدا project you can easily get overwhelmed. يعني البروسيس شويه صعب انك من الاول تختاري الكولرز، تختاري الصور، تختاري الايكونز، صعبه شوي من الاول. دونك so what's good is always to keep it simple from the beginning and start with wireframes. كما بتشوفون هنا الwireframes هي واحد version simple بتاع الابلكيشن بتاعك. There is no colors, there is no pictures. You focus just on the functionalities, the button and the user flow. So the process of writing a wireframe is to establish the basic structure اللي بيعني انه الستراكشر الاساسيه بتاع الابلكيشن بتاعك and الفوكس بتاعك بيكون على الانتندد فانكشناليتيز يعني الفيتشرز الاساسيين. and اهم حاجه انك يو سيف راح تكسب الكثير من الوقت والريسورسز. and there is two versions of wireframes. هناك hand draw sketches and هناك digital wireframes. The idea the main idea here to keep it simple. Start simple, then after that after finishing wireframes and you will already have واحد الفيرجن اللي good بتاع الابلكيشن بتاعك. then you can continue to the next step اللي هي الهاي فيداليتي. الهاي فيداليتي هي واحد الديزاين تاع الابلكيشن بتاعك هي تبقى الاصل تاع الفاينل برودكت. وهون بيبدا البروسيس الاساسي بتاع الديزاين اللي هو انك تحول الواير فريمز بتاعك الى high fidelity. So this is what we mean with high fidelity. It's an advanced version. هناك colors، هناك صور اللي هي تبقى الاثر بتاع الاند برودكت. and البروسيس بتاع الهاي فيداليتي is good. ليش؟ instead of going directly to code your application انك تمشي الكود to write Angular or HTML and CSS, it will take a lot of time. But when you start with the high fidelity using software like Figma or Adobe XD, it will be easier and it will not take a lot of time, and also it will be easy to modify. So far so good. I know my Egyptian is not perfect, but trust me, I'm doing my best. حلوة دي. So far so good. Any questions? If there is no questions, let's continue. Okay, let's continue. Now راح نبدأ في design principles. أول principle راح نبدأ به هو عندنا هنا واحد user interface. بس هناك مشكل مع هذا اليوزر انترفيس، هناك مشكل بسيط جدا. It looks good but there is a slight problem with it. ممكن الآن راح أسألكم شنو هو هذا المشكل البسيط مع هذا اليوزر انترفيس. هناك مشكل بسيط راح نعالجه، راح تصير يو اي جامد جدا. There is a slight problem with this user interface. I'm waiting for your responses. Can you guess it? It looks fine, but there is a problem with it. Can you identify the problem? No one? Okay, the problem with this user interface is the alignment. As you can see here, أنا عندنا مشكل تاع alignment. It's very hard to see at first, especially if you are not familiar with UI and UX, but there is an alignment problem. The hero section, the title is not aligned to the left, the button also, and also the navigation bar. It's just a mess. It's like putting stuff randomly. But if we took the same UI and we did just a slight change in the alignment of the elements, it will look much better. Can you see the difference? It's literally the same. Trust me, أنا أعمل مجهود باش أتكلم مصري but I'm not used to it. I'm sorry. Okay, as you can see here, there is a slight problem with alignment. And this is the first principle. هذا هو المبدأ الأول اللي راح نشوفه في اليو اي UX, which is alignment. When you do your UI, you should avoid doing mistakes like this, like putting things randomly on your UI. When we draw some lines around it, it's going to be very hard. It hurts your eyes. And this principle is what we call alignment. If we do just a slight change, it will look much more better. And this is the principle we're going to start with, which is alignment. Just a simple alignment can make something look good in design. في طبيعتنا نحن نحب أننا نشوف الأمور مرتبة. And this is what we mean with alignment. It's always good to try. And if we go back to this example, the UI looks good, but you can see that there is a problem with it. بس راح نعمل slight في الalignment بتاع elements, and we can see that the UI just got much more better. And just using a simple alignment. That's what we mean with alignment. مبدأ آخر, another principle, which is the grid. الجريد اللي نعني بالجريد هو when we have elements كده, there is no alignment as we discussed it before. We will do the alignment now. As you can see now, it's aligned. But there is also another problem, that is it's not evenly distributed. As you can see, the elements here, they are not evenly distributed. هون مبدأ الجريد راح يتدخل. إذا رسمنا columns أو إذا رسمنا columns here, you can see that if we just fit each rectangle into the columns, it will look much more better, like this. And هناك فرق كبير جدا ما بين هاد structure and هاد. So this is what we mean with the grids. The grid is a set of columns that we can use to fit our elements in the UI. And this is what we mean by the grid. The grid is a set of columns. For example, here, we will fit it in 2 columns, and each small rectangle will fill in 1 column. For more information, السنة اللي فاتت عملت talk عن الجريد والlayout system. You will find it in YouTube. Just search about this, layouts in grids by البشير تدراني, and you will find it in YouTube. I also implemented an example with CSS, so you will both know the theory and also the practical part about grid and layouts. So far so good. Any questions? So far so good. Okay, good. Okay, let's continue. هون هناك مشكل كيفاش نختاروا palettes. Yeah, we will talk about color palettes afterwards. Now we're gonna see another concept. First, what do you think? What do you think about this UI? Do you like it? Does it look good for you? What's your input of this? Do you like this UI? Yes, no. Good. ميسي. اوكي بشع قوي. اوكي كويس. ايش المشكله مع اليو اي هذا؟ Can you identify the problem? Can you identify السبب ليش هذا اليو اي بشع قوي؟ الوان كثير. ايوه. Too much color. Yes, that's correct. But I want you to go deeper. The problem is not only with the colors, but the problem is also there is a lot of elements. We have everything is seeking our attention here. أول حاجة هذه الباكجراوند. We have this background which has a lot of details. We have this title. Wait, exactly, it's charged. في a lot of information. Everything is seeking our attention here, and this is the principle we're gonna see. The principle is called visual hierarchy. What do we mean by this? This is the perfect example to see it. Subconsciously, when you read this, the first thing you're gonna read is this. You will read this first. Then probably you will read this immediately afterwards. And you will most likely leave this for last. This is what we mean by visual hierarchy. هناك تراتبية أو واحد hierarchy of vision. And we can force it. Here we force it with the text size. When this is very big, this text is very big. It's the biggest one here. So we're gonna read it first. Then subconsciously we're gonna go for this one, and finally this one. Unless you're a psychopath, you're gonna start with this. So this is what we mean by visual hierarchy. When we go back to this UI, it's really hard. Like it's really hard to identify. For me, the first thing I saw was this picture. Then probably you will go something like this, and you will spend 10 minutes in this page, and you're gonna have no idea about what it's doing. By the way, this page it's still alive. You can visit it. linkscar.com. It's still working. You can visit it. So this is the third principle we're gonna see, which is another example here. which is a good example, you can see that they implemented this principle very well. First, of course, you're gonna start with this big title, or probably this picture. So we have a good visual hierarchy. It's not charged. The use of color is good, and this is what we're gonna learn about visual hierarchy, is how to apply it. Visual hierarchy is a concept not only applied to UI or UX, it's also applied in posters. This poster of the film Tom Hanks in the Forrest Gump, it's a very good movie, if you ask me. They applied this principle very well. The first thing you're gonna see is the actor. Then you're gonna see the title of the movie, and then you're gonna see the date. And it's simple, but yet it's so powerful. You can see أنه في 3 ثواني I have an idea, it's not very charged. So this is what we mean with visual hierarchy. Another way to see it, it's like the spotlight. When you're on the stage, it's like a spotlight. When you make something big like this, a picture in a title, it's like putting a spotlight on it. This is just another terminology for you to better understand the principle of visual hierarchy. الآن راح نعمل اكسرسايز. عملت هذا الاكسرسايز عمله كتير عشان انني اشرح البرنسيبلز بتاع اليو اي واليو اكس. ناو بتاع الفيجوال هيراركي، البرنسيبل بتاع الجريد والبرنسيبل بتاع الالاينمنت. Now we're gonna apply what we learned in Figma. I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna change my screen. Now we're gonna go to Figma to apply what we learned. Exercise يا جدعان. ايوه. Share screen. Window. Can you see my screen? Please confirm. Can you see my screen? Yes, no? Please confirm. Can you see my screen? No. Okay. Okay. Give me a second. What about now? Can you see my screen? البروبلم انه الهوست مشى، الهوست ديال الطولك مشى ودابا ما نقدرش نطلع على الستيج. So I'm in a problem right now. Okay. مشكل تقني. الهوست ديال السيشن مشى و I can't bring the slides to the screen. Let me just contact them to bring the screens back. Okay, what about now? Can you see my screen? Yes, no? كتبان لكم الإيكران ديالي؟ Okay, thank you. So to apply the principles we learned, first we're going to define them. Let's start with the principles we talked about. First, we talked about alignments. We talked about grid. and we talked about visual hierarchy. Now we're gonna apply this with the UI we have here. We have a really ugly UI, as you can see here. It's just a bunch of text in the hero image, and we're gonna apply only the 3 principles we have here to make it look better. راح نحاول أننا نجعل هذا اليو اي جامد only بهذا البرنسبلز اللي شفناهم في الطوق. The first thing we're gonna start with is the grid أو الجريد مع alignment. In Figma we can apply the grid here. There is something called في Figma هناك layout grid. Let me zoom in. I can't zoom. Okay, I will zoom like this. Okay. In Figma, as you can see here, we have layout grid. There is a feature here called layout grid. We can use it. We can choose. احنا في الطرق شفنا اننا استخدمنا columns. I always like to use 12 because 12 I can divide it by 2, I can divide it by 4, and I also can divide it by 3, which is useful. I'm a margin of 100 or 60. Perfect. احنا الان عملنا الجريد سيستم بتاعنا. احنا الان عملنا الجريد سيستم using Figma. كما قلنا انه هو واحد bunch of columns to use to fit our elements. البرنسبل الاول اللي هو الجريد مع الالاينمنت. راح نبدا بالالاينمنت. اول حاجه الالاينمنت راح we will put this picture here and we will talk all of this and we will align it like this to the left. This is the first principle. We are taking everything step by step. Okay, good. Now we only applied one principle, which is alignment. Done. The alignment is done. Now we're going to apply the grid. And with the grid, we're going to use this picture. We're going to apply at once the grid in visual hierarchy. The first thing I want people to see is, let's define them. The first thing I want people to see is the picture. So this is going to be number 1. I want people to see the picture first. Then I want them to see the title. It's going to be 2. And finally, I want them to see the action button, which is going to be 3. Okay. We're going to apply this. First, I want them to see this picture. Then I want them to see a title. And finally, I want them to see the action button. So let's apply that. We're going to start with the picture. We're going to make it big to stand out. Let's do that. Perfect. There is a problem that the text now is below. We're going to fix that. I'm going to bring everything brain to front. Okay. Perfect. And now I will fix this. It doesn't appear because we have a black background. Much better. And I'm gonna take this. Okay, perfect. As you can see, we applied the visual hierarchy for the picture, and now it stands out, and you can see that it looks much more better. As you can see here, if we compare it to this, There's a huge difference. Now we still need to fix the title. Let's say the main title will be his job, which is Boston Divorce Attorney, with his name. Let's highlight his name. Let's make it very big, like this. This looks perfect for me. Okay. With this below it. Perfect. I will change the font. We're gonna talk later about the fonts. I'm gonna choose Playfair, and voila, it works. Perfect. We made this only using the three principles we learned. Make it a bit closer. And yes, let me just do a trick to make this one. As you can see, it's not a lot of work, but still you can see the difference, because don't forget that we are only allowed to use only these principles that we learned about. So far we succeed in turning a UI like this, which looks very boring, into this UI only using these principles: alignment, grid, and visual layout. Now we finished our exercise and we're going back to our presentation. Screen. Perfect. Here is another version of the UI we did using the same image, but this time we didn't fill it all the way up, using the name of the attorney and Boston Divorce Attorney and a call to action button. This is another way of doing it, but still using the same principles as we saw before: visual hierarchy, grid, and alignment. So far so good. Any questions? Good. Okay, let's continue. Another principle, which is proximity. The proximity يعني العلاقة between the elements بتاع ال UI بتاعنا. As an example, we have this UI عندنا بزاف تاع elements في navbar title. بس the problem with this UI is that we have a large space and we try to put an element in every space in our UI. Like we have a huge canvas and we are trying to fill it, and we're going to end up with something like this. There is a lot of white space around every element. There is a lot of white space here, a lot of white space here. To avoid this, we use proximity, which is to group relevant information together. Like here we have navigation bar, it's related, so let's group it together. We also have this paragraph is here to better explain the title or the purpose of this website. So let's put it together, the paragraph and the title together. And we also have call to action buttons. We have a primary one, a secondary one. Let's put them together instead of separating them. And this is what we mean with proximity. A good design likes grouping elements closer to each other if they have something in common. This is a design concept called proximity, and that's what we applied here. And you can see that just a single tweet makes it look very much better. Now, another topic, which is typography. Of course, when we have some UIs, we can make it look good and simple at the same time. As you can see in these both examples, we only used colors and typography. There is not a lot of elements. There is not a lot of images. There is none, but still it looks good. Why? Because we properly used colors and we properly used typography. First, let's define some concepts. There is two concepts, which is typeface and font. The typeface, we mean the name of it, like Helvetica, Arial, which is the name. It's type. We call it the typeface. The font is like, is it light, is it regular, or is it bold? So each typeface have a lot of font, and you can see people they are probably using these two terms. They exchange them, like they mean typeface, but they say font. Just to There is a difference, and this is the difference between the correct term to use is typeface. The font means is it light, regular, or bold. There is a lot of typefaces. There is playful ones, there is strict ones, and there is fancy ones. And you should pay attention while choosing your typeface. If you choose a playful style in your internship presentation, well, it's like choosing to dress like this guy in his wedding, which is funny because the purpose of this meme is to understand that you cannot use each typeface everywhere. A typeface comes with a personality. Here is an example to emphasize that. Here we have looking for a winter holiday. It's about holidays. We have trees here, snow, and this typeface looks perfect. But if we try to use the same typeface in another UI like this, it doesn't look good, because we have here some buildings. It has like the sense of corporate. We can smell that this is something professional. We have buildings, we have edges here. This typeface just doesn't fit. It doesn't look good. But when we change it to a strict typeface, it looks much more better, and it gives that look of professionalism. So this is the point. We should pay attention to the personality of the typefaces we use, because each typeface has a personality. Some are fun, some are playful, and some are strict, and some are also academic and fancy. So we should pay attention to this when we choose our typefaces. And for the typefaces category, there is serif and sans serif. You probably heard this a lot, but there is slight uh, uh, different, which is with serif. We have these edges here. This is what we mean with the serif typefaces. Sans serif, it means without these things. It's just a name to distinguish between them. Serif typefaces always have these edges, and sans serif doesn't. And we have also display and script. Script, it's like handwritten typeface. Display, it's decorative. We use it probably for titles or for posters. And each one of this, of course, each one of these typefaces has also like categories. Like if we took the serif, we have old style, we have modern, and we have slab. Old style, we find it in books, we find it in academic writings. Modern, we have it for fancy stuff. If there is something deluxe, we're probably gonna use this typeface. And also we have slab. An example of serif typeface is in medium. The medium uses serif, as you can see here. It has those edges. That's an example of it, because medium, we have articles, blogs, and the difference between serif old style and serif modern is just on those edges. Here, as you can see, the edge is correctly aligned, but in old style it's not, which makes it perfect for posters. As you can see here, the poster of Evoke magazine, they are using here modern, which gives us the sign that we can use this typeface in fancy stuff. Like it has that fancy touch in it. you are building a website for a fancy restaurant, a fancy clothes company, a fancy they are selling fancy watches, it's gonna be perfect to use the Vogue the modern serif typeface, and it's also the same one as we saw in the example before. But pay attention, it's not good to use in paragraph or in longer paragraphs because it's not easily readable. It's just painful for the eyes. We can still struggle to read it, but it's not good practice to use modern typefaces in long paragraphs. It's just not good. It's very hard to read. Don't forget about UX design, as we told, is we should make it easier for the user, not harder. So stick with it for typeface. Okay. Another example is sans serif. As we told, it's the one who doesn't have the edges. We use it a lot, and also it's the one we use most of the time in our websites. And also we have display. Display is decorative typeface, and also script. Script, it looks like handwritten. An example of this, we have this is for الحضانة, or for educating young people how to write, and it's just the perfect case to use the script because they are learning how to write, and we use it here. It has that playful touch in it. It's just perfect to use script in this case. A pro tip to use before downloading or using a typeface in Google Fonts, which is one of the main sources of getting typefaces. Pay attention to this paragraph about. You're gonna probably find some notes on how to use the typeface. And is it good to use in paragraph? Is it readable? Just pay attention to this about section in the Google Fonts when you try to use it. And finally, we arrive to the interesting part, the art of color. Somebody asked me about colors like 10 minutes ago. Are you still here? The one who asked about colors or how to use them. Maybe he's gone, maybe he's not, but still we're gonna do it together. One of the most challenging things when starting your UX and UI journey is choosing the right colors. It's just painful. It's not easy to get good with colors. As Mother Nature, as you can see in these pictures, Mother Nature is just good, wonderful, and inspiring on how it uses colors. As you can see here in this flower, in the forest, on the beach, you can see that the colors are very. You wish that you have that capability as Mother Nature to use your colors. But we can sample colors from Mother Nature. We can learn from it to take those pictures. Like as you can see here, we have a lot of colors. We have this blue, we have this grade of yellow. You can see here that these two colors goes good together. Maybe we can inspire from Mother Nature and sample colors from it. And let's do that together. Here we have a picture of a line ديال السبوعة. Hope السبع ديالنا حسام كاين هنا ولا مشى. Here we have a line. We're gonna use this line to sample colors from it. We're gonna do something like this. We're gonna choose the color from his nose, this specific color from his hair, and also this one. And as you can see here, you can guess that these colors really goes good together. Let's try them out. Ta-da! That's simple. From this picture, we sampled those colors. We used one for the main title. We used the color on his nose for the background, and it just works. Instead of choosing randomly, we can learn from Mother Nature. Especially this trick is especially good when you are working with a picture. When you're working with a picture, you can sample colors from it. Another example here is with this eagle. We can sample colors from it, but sometimes maybe the colors are not perfectly good for you. Maybe you sample colors from this picture, but still you want to fine tune them. You want to do some adjustment to them, and that's what we're gonna see right now. From this tool, you can find this tool in Figma, in Photoshop, in any editing tool. You can see it. If you change the code of your color to this HSB, which means hue, saturation, and brightness. Uh, by brightness, by the last one, brightness, it means how much darkness in that specific color. For example, here it's very light, and here it's very dark. It's like adding darkness to it. That's what we mean with brightness. The last character, which is this one. And we have saturation. Saturation is how much gray in that color. For example, if we took the same picture and we making the saturation 0, it's gonna look like this. It's gonna scale it to grayscale. And to find colors, it's easy to play with this parameters without losing the color. We can adjust the brightness, we can adjust the saturation and the hueness. So if you sample some colors that still it's just not good for you, you can play with this parameters to make it look better. And an example is like this. As you can see, we got these colors from this picture, but we didn't like them. We can adjust them. We can make it brighter in order for us to use them. Another technique is color hunting. One of the best ways to find great colors is to steal them. We joke about this a lot about designers, is that we steal colors from each other. We get inspired from them. And a good approach is when you finish a design, when you want to make a design, you can get inspired. You can visit websites like Dribble, you can search on Google, you can visit Figma community to search for colors. And another technique is brand color. So you can see an established brand, for example, Spotify, Google, Twitter, X, or Pinterest. You can see the typefaces they used, their colors, and you can get inspired from them. And I'm afraid that this is the end of this talk. Thank you so much. I hope you learned something. You can visit my portfolio. You will find the slides there, which is therein.com. You can find the slides of this talk, and you can find also my socials. So if you have any questions, you can contact me directly. Thank you.